Hello, I'm back again. And once again, I'm trying to find somewhere comfortable to make videos, and this isn't very comfortable, crouched in a corner, but I'll get there soon. I still haven't quite sorted out the shelves, so still got a big stack of records in the middle of the living room, but the time will come. Anyway, I have just been watching a video by Charlie at Me Digger, You Viewer. Always worth watching his videos. Has great stuff, great mix uh, of um, of styles, and he showed a really nice record by somebody's name I've forgotten, something Acosta, I think. But it was a Latin piano player, and I really liked it. And I love Latin pianos. In fact, when it comes to Latin music, which I love a lot, it's the piano which I really love in those songs. So I thought I'd pick out some of those, some obvious, some not so obvious. I mean, just to show a few to start with, you've got favours like this is from the Sonora Ponceña, a great group. The pianist Papo Luca, one of the best to do it. Absolutely fantastic. This one, very sought after, Marcolino de Monde, Beethoven's Fifth, very heavy pianos. That's a Latin classic, that one as well. Got to mention Larry Harlow. That album doesn't look very promising at all, does it? But it's absolutely fantastic, and he plays very nicely on it. Richie Ray, classic as well. There he is with Bobby Cruz, a classic record that they did there, El Bestial Sonido. And what else we got? Joe Madrid, it's a nice one from Colombia. And the classics, of course, Eddie Palmieri. And not to forget his brother, Charlie. Charlie always gets overlooked. That's a fantastic album, A Giant Step. Again, perhaps not very encouraging cover artwork, but a great record inside. And in this one, from Mr. Bongo, in an older incarnation, I think, of Mr. Bongo. It's been deleted since. But these are some radio sessions of just Charlie on a piano with a very small group of percussionists. Brilliant record, this. Tema de Maria Cervantes. Check that tune out. Really nice. And what I like about all of those piano players is a lot of them started out learning the piano using classical music, because you hear that a lot in Latin music, the classical music influence. And Richie Ray famously takes his licks from, I'm not sure if it's Stravinsky or somebody like that, but they're basically classical riffs that he's playing in a lot of his tunes. And the same can be said of any of them. I mean, obviously, to get those techniques in piano, you start with classical music, I suppose. But it's interesting to see how some of these go. Now, those are slightly later records than the ones I wanted to show, because I wanted to go back to the 50s and 60s before the salsa explosion, to show some records which are very of their time, I suppose, but they show that classical influence quite heavily. And I'll start here with this one. This is Mr. Bongo, the original Mr. Bongo, Jack Constanzo and his Afro-Cuban band. Now, he's actually the bongo player, I'm assuming. The pianist is Eddie Cano, who's great, and I've actually managed to pick up a few things by him. This is an old record from the 50s, and you can see it's been about a bit, but it's a fantastic record. And it's one of those records that quite often Latin records, old Latin records from the 50s and 60s, particularly that you see in this country, are basically ballroom dancing records. This is not a ballroom dancing record, although some of the songs on it could be, perhaps, on the Vogue label. So it's nice, thick, old school vinyl, the way that it should be. Obviously, as an old record, it sounds a bit crackly now. The really big tune that I love, and the reason why I looked out for this and was very pleased to find it, was there's a great little tune called I think here they called it Chopsticks Mango, Chopsticks Mambo, and it's basically a version of Chopsticks, which doesn't sound very encouraging. Anybody who's learnt the piano will probably have sometime had to have played Chopsticks. And it actually starts out as a piano lesson with Eddie Cano playing the piano very badly. But then suddenly it kicks in and it all takes off and you get your mambo. And it's a wonderful, wonderful tune. I really recommend looking out for that. I think it's on YouTube, but I'll give you a taste of it here. We've got to go to the classics as well, like Cachao. This record, which has actually just been re-released by Vampi Soul, I believe, very well worth picking up because it's one of the what would you call it? One of the seminal texts of Latin music, if you like. A lot of stuff goes back to these descargas jam sessions, and this is perhaps the most famous one. There's others which are very sought after as well. And basically, they're bits and bobs, quite short tracks of jam sessions, as it says. And this one's with Cachao. There's other ones with other people, but this one is fantastic. This is a fairly knackered Venezuelan copy, I think probably from the 1980s, but it plays well enough for me. And the big tune here, which I've always loved here, Malanga Maria, has a very nice heavy piano. You really get that sound that it's not just some tinky little honky-tonk piano they're playing. They're playing a full Steinway grand piano, and it really, you can feel the roar of these big old-fashioned pianos. I absolutely love it.
Malanga Maria, esa malanga Maria, hay que comerla caliente. Yo te la traigo María, yo te la traigo de Oriente. Esa malanga María, hay que comerla caliente. Yo te la traigo María, yo te la traigo de Oriente.
Something a bit more stripped back and simple here from Noro Morales. And this album, I'm not quite sure if it's called Mi Guajira or Piano y Ritmo. What I can tell you is it's recorded in stereo, and the percussion is on one side and the piano is on the other side, which makes it a very strange listening experience. But it's great. And what I love about it is it's very, very simple. Very simple indeed. There's just some percussion, some bongos, and all the rest. And his piano style, which is very understated, particularly on the song here, one of his big songs, this Vitamina. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Really pleased to find that in a record shop in London. And it was a tune I was aware of and was really looking for, and I thought maybe I'll get it when I'm elsewhere, but no, it turned up in London. And yeah, great tune. Noro, he's got some other nice tunes worth checking out as well. And on those other ones, he's a bit more over the top and floral in the way that I like. But I like this one just because of the simplicity of it. Let's see if you get my idea. And there's one other record I want to talk about, but the problem is I don't have it. And there's a very strong possibility I will never have it, because it's one of those records which is super rare and doesn't really come up. I think the last one I saw on the internet that went for sale was somewhere about $500. So I'm not going there. But it is a wonderful record, so that's why I'm going to talk about it. It's by a pianist called Aníbal Abreu. I believe was a Venezuelan pianist, and the record is called Piano Capriccio. I will put a snip at the end just so you get my idea, but for me it is Latin piano perfection. In fact, it's just perfection on its own. It's one of those tunes which has the perfect balance of melody and groove, and when I listen to that song it makes me very glad to be alive, which I think is a pretty decent compliment to play to a song, right? I would love to own a copy, but I don't think I will. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to say, that's okay. At least you can listen to it now. Anyway, that was a few Latin pianos, been a little inspired. I will probably be back to the soul and funk next time. I've got some other tunes. I've got some tunes recently that I wanted to talk about, so maybe I'll do that in a week or so. Anyway, till the next time, all the best.